Let's talk about Keller theory. Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and welcome to my shop. I have a bench here in front of me that I've been building over the last few weeks. If you want to see the videos thus far, I'll leave a link to those in the cards and down in the description. This week I really had a lot of fun on this one because I finally put the finish on. Boiled linseed oil just brings out the color in the walnut and all these different colors of white oak. I'm flabbergasted and blown away, and I'm in love. But I figured I would show you guys what all I did this far on the process. So let's jump into the project and take a look at this. I got this Veritas Twin Screw Vise, and it's one that I've been wanting for a long time. It's really kind of cool because when you turn one handle, both handles will turn. There's a chain that will connect them. You can use it as a Moxon vise, as a face vise, as an end vise, as a tail vise, the whole 9 yards. It is a really kind of a cool setup, and I've been wanting to put it on the bench, so I finally got a kit. I made the two chops in a previous video, but here I can actually attach the threaded rods to the rear chop, and I can just drill out the holes to pre-drill them and put in these hex bolts to hold them in place. 2 hex bolts on each screw, and it is permanently attached to the tail vise, or I guess not permanently because I can take them out if I want to. Now the chain and case come flexible so that you can adjust them to your size. So you can take out that link and put in the temporary link and get them exactly what they need to be. And then you can play with it. And you can see here how you move one and the other one moves. And it's kind of cool how you can keep this parallel. If you do want to skew them, there is a disconnect so you can move one without moving the other one. But it's kind of cool to be able to put so much force along the whole width of this as opposed to one connection point or one screw. Last, I can put on the cover, the decal, and it is, well, basically done and ready to use. I now need to work on the chop itself and smooth it out so I can actually plane down the top and bring that smooth with the rest of the bench. Fairly straightforward process. I just want to make sure that it feels good and is a nice transition between one chop and the other. Next, I can cut off the 2 ends. I'll put some tape to kind of protect the surface so I can cut it flush. But in this case, if I do scratch it up, oh well, I'm going to be doing some finish planing on it, and I can bring it back to smooth after that. Now I'm going to be putting leather on both chop faces, and this is just a vegetable tan, fairly flexible, soft leather. I'll put a link to something very similar down below. But I can glue it on with DAP contact adhesive. I love this stuff. I've used it quite a bit. Yes, there are better glues out there, but for this use, it is fantastic. It will last for the life of the leather, and works very, very well for a leather on wood connection. I'll leave a link to that down below as well. After applying it to the chops, I can then apply it to the leather. It will take a while for it it'll take a lot of it to set into this leather. It will soak into it, and you end up putting a lot more on the leather than you do on the wood. But take your time, make sure you cover it really well, especially on the outside edges, and then you can apply it. And this stuff, the moment it touches, it sets. If you wait until it's a little bit tacky and then put them together, it is a lifelong hold. On the bench end, I actually want to cut out the holes for the screw. On the other one, I just pre-cut them in the leather so that I can fit them on. And then rather than having to clamp them in place or hold them with anything or put a bunch of weight on them, I can actually just use the chain vise itself to clamp them down. And the amount of pressure and the even pressure all the way across this will keep this perfectly. I'm going to let them sit overnight, and they'll be on there for years and years to come. Next up, we need to drill all the dog holes. Now, rather than using a tape measure and marking everything out, I actually like to make a story stick. It just becomes a little bit easier. I don't care what the measurements are. I just want them to be in about 1.5 inches to 2 inches from the front edge, and then about 4 to 6 inches in from the back edge. I'm putting in 2 rows of dog holes so that I can use this parallel vise as basically a long tail vise on both front and back. And then I also have the story stick on here for all of the marks lengthwise. I'm putting them about 6 inches apart. I may drill a few more in between those eventually, but right now 6 inches is perfectly fine. And then I can use the story stick to make sure that they're all the same distance from the front edge and they're all the same distance from the vise. So I get fairly accurate marks and measurements all the way across. And now we can get into the boring part. This is a lot of people have asked me about drilling all the dog holes. You know, how do you do it? How do you make sure that they're perfectly square? How do you make sure that? And a lot of people get really bent out of shape. And I basically do this. I move to the side and I look at it. Yeah, it looks right, 90 degrees that way. I like it. I move back to the other side. Yeah, that looks 90 degrees. Good. Move on. You really don't need to be accurate. They're just dog holes. If they're out of alignment a little bit, oh well, it really doesn't matter. I did a whole video on drilling dog holes. If you want to see that, I'll try and leave a link to that down below. But don't overthink it. Just bore the hole and be done with it. Now in this case, I am drilling a lot of them, and because of their spacing, they will work perfectly as well for hold-fast holes. If you want to see, you know, how do you figure out where to put hold-fast holes, Shannon Rogers actually just put a video on that on the Renaissance Woodworker channel, and a great video on figuring out where to put the holes. But in this case, with 2 rolls of these, I don't need to put out separate hold-fast holes because I can reach anywhere on the bench with these. A little bit of chamfering, and it's done. And on to the favorite part. This is where everything is. Yeah, words escape me. This is beautiful. I'm using boiled linseed oil. If any of you know me, boiled linseed oil and paste wax is my preferred finish. I have a video on how I do this, and the boiled linseed oil just brings out the color in this walnut and white oak like nothing else. Well, I mean, you can see it. It's gorgeous. So I'm just spreading this on with my hand. It is an all-natural boiled linseed oil that a friend of mine made, and I'm hoping to do a video soon about making my own. But yeah, you can really see how this color comes out, and the walnut and the carving. The carving really absorbs a lot of it, and so it gets darker inside, and really brings it out and makes this whole thing pop. And I am in love with what boiled linseed oil does to it. It's beautiful. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be talking about this is too gorgeous to use, but really I'm going to be using this. It is a bench, and it is a functional bench, and one that I'm going to be using for years to come. Even down on the stretchers and stringers, I chose pieces of wood that had a lot more figure and curl and shape, and the BLO just brings it out beautifully. Even if I was going to finish with a poly, I'd probably put BLO on and then a shellac to seal the BLO and then put the poly on top of that, just because of the color that it brings out. It does amazing things that you don't get with many other finishes. And here you can see all the color and all these different types of white oak. I love white oak for that because it just has so much variety. So there's the bench. I've got a lot more little things to do to it, but until then, I can just sit back and watch it. So there you have it. This is just absolutely gorgeous. I am in love with how it came out, and I'm looking forward to putting a lot of dents and dings in this and putting it to use. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's so nice. I'm like, no, it's a workbench. And really, I didn't put a whole lot into this that I wouldn't have put into another workbench. I like having the walnut on the edges. I know it looks good, but the walnut is slightly softer than the white oak, so it's not going to be dinging things up if I put it on the corner. The white oak is a wood that I would have chosen for the top. The carving really only took a few extra hours, and it was kind of a fun thing for the video. So this is a workbench, and I will be doing a lot of work on this, and I'll be putting a lot of scars into it, which will be great memories held in the surface of this wood. So I hope you liked this video. I had an absolute blast on it. I'm looking forward to a few more things. I still have to put the leg vices. Once I get those chops, I'm going to be doing 2 different videos. I'm going to do 2 different types of vices, so you can see those. I'm also going to be doing a wrap-up video here soon on things that I like, things that I don't like, what I would probably change in the next one, problems I had on this one, and show you some of the ins and outs on that. So yeah, I hope you like this video. And that's about it for today. If you did like it, please hit like and smash the subscribe button. Also, if you want to see some behind the scenes footage and some of the other things earlier, you can see that on my second channel. I want to say thank you to the patrons on Patreon. You guys are really the reason why I can keep putting out videos like this. If you'd like to find out more about that, you can do so right down here. And until next time, have a wonderful day.